Hello, I'm James, and I'm an old guy in Europe. Hello, and welcome to another episode of An Old Guy in Europe. This week I talk with Carl Munson on last week's Good Morning Portugal Show about my upcoming move to Espinho, Portugal, and about my tribute and farewell to Ericeira from last week's episode 39 of An Old Guy in Europe. So, as always, I invite you to please sit back, relax, and enjoy.
From well-being to well-being, of course, and mindfulness with James, how to cope and face the not just sometimes, the ups and downs, the whole picture of moving to Portugal from his own experience, and particularly at the moment, moving from Ericeira to Espinho. So let's find out how he's doing, but not until we've heard his intro music. See him after this.
Bom dia!
Hey, hold on a minute. The cowboy hat is still up on the wall. You are moving this week, aren't you?
Yeah, when you said it, he's moving right now or something. It's like, no, not right this instant, this week, but yes, I'm moving.
Yeah, and because you've only got 3 things to pack, you don't have to panic. You don't have to panic just yet, do you?
I almost grabbed a big cardboard box to have it standing up like I was getting ready to go. I said, that's too much.
Whilst drinking a bottle of wine.
Yeah, exactly.
Right there. Wow, James. So how is it? Tudo bem.
Muito bem. Obrigado.
Excelente. And how's the carnival been in your part of town or the country?
My part of Ericeira, which is 4.5 kilometers from the village center, is basically nothing. It's just beautiful, generally quiet neighborhood with the exception of the dogs that love to go off for no apparent reason many times a day. So yeah, I'm not experiencing Carnival at this moment. And I'll be arriving in Espinho, where I think it would be more apparent simply because everything is closer to the center of town there. But I don't know what's going on by Wednesday, so I won't be arriving there till Wednesday evening. So
I think it'll all be done and dusted by then, and all that will be left, as is often the case in Portugal, is a few. It's almost sort of like Native American trackers have been there. There's barely a trace of their presence, apart from my observation of festas and Carnival and such public celebrations is there'll be quite a few cable ties, or zip ties as I think you call them, strewn around the grass and on the floor, which have been snipped whilst they've taken stuff down. And then as you walk around the site, you will see a half-drunk bottle of beer on somebody's windowsill or in a doorway.
Half-drunk, not half-drunken.
Well, that'll be the owner.
Drunken bottle. That would be the guy who's asleep next to that half-drunk bottle.
The half-drunken man is somewhere else, but his half-drunk bottle will have been left as he made his way home on the Tuesday night.
Well, when you mentioned the day after, I instantly got an image of a bunch of people just sleeping on the sidewalk and on the sea wall, and just people asleep.
Well, that'll be Torres Vedras. Oh yeah, that'll be Torres Vedras you're talking about there. We will have pictures. Yeah, but don't expect to get anything done. I think basically the bureaucracy, the machinery of state has seized up or is focused elsewhere for today and tomorrow. And normal business will resume somewhat bleary-eyed on Wednesday, I suspect, which is, of course, when you move, James. So how is it going? How are your loins girded for such an experience?
Well, yeah, they're pretty girded. They're girded.
Okay.
It's funny because every move I've ever made was an entire household of stuff, including furniture. And so, at least a week in advance. It was like the whole house had stuff on the floor, trying to get organized for how I was going to pack, lots of boxes that were getting filled up. And so I have that energy. It's like, oh, I need it. And it's like, you got a suitcase, a carry-on, a backpack, and 4 boxes. Like, you'll be okay. You can wait till Tuesday. We're planning to load the car up Tuesday evening. I'll just spend Tuesday packing, and then I'll, put it in the car, and we'll leave Wednesday afternoon, and it'll be done.
Okay.
So, but the energy is like, I should be doing something.
Yeah, of course. Because it is down, isn't it, as one of the great moves in life, isn't it? One of the great upheavals of life is moving home.
Yeah. And the thing is, my studio is so small, I can't do what I've typically done, which is just lay everything out. So I can, in my mind, organize how I'm going to put it in boxes in the most efficient way. And so that's just going to have to wait till the day so that it's not in the way of today and tomorrow. I'm not tripping over things.
Yeah.
So it's a new move. It's certainly not. I've made well over 30 moves in my adult life, so I know how to move. And this is not a complicated one. It shouldn't be a difficult one, but the energy is really primed to. I moved an entire household twice in 2 days, once in my life.
Seriously, why? You on the run from the police or like that?
Myself.
By yourself?
Yes.
Right, okay.
I actually built a piano dolly for it so that I could roll it, because the thing was, 500 pounds, so 250 kilos or so.
I bet you're glad you're not moving your piano on Wednesday, aren't you?
Yes, I've dropped a lot of stuff out of my life, especially getting here, but with the last three moves or so, I've been like really paring down. So by the time it was time to come to Portugal, there wasn't a whole lot left to do.
And can you play the piano?
I used to be able to play 1 or 2 pieces. But
wow.
Yeah.
Well, there's something. I did invite everybody to share something we might not know about you. I mean, not you specifically, about oneself. And there's one that came out unsolicited there. You could play the piano.
Yeah, well, I sang for 4 years in high school.
Did you?
And my choir director was so inspirational to me. He really was. When people talk about who's the one teacher who really had an impact on your life, he's that guy, Mr. Hanson.
How lovely.
And so I thought that I wanted to pursue music education. I wanted to become a music teacher like him, but I didn't really have the background short of my choir experience. I barely even knew how to read music, so it would be quite a little path to go. And learning piano was going to be key to me to understanding music theory. Oh, and that wasn't even intentional.
That was brilliant.
So there's one thing you didn't know about me, but you could, if I just went into the various jobs I've had in my life, that would be one new thing. So there's a lot of them.
Yes, and I'm thinking of what was that great movie, Mr. Somebody's Opus, about the inspirational music teachers.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, it was always kind of Dead Poet Society vibe about it, wasn't it? I'm sure we will all be told.
The music version.
Yes, the music version of Dead Poet Society. Fantastic.
Not the musical.
We need to write a musical. That's why that nearly happened, wasn't it? It was an erotic novel. It should have been a musical with you as the musical.
An erotic musical.
Okay, you're on. But you're busy this week, I know. Maybe start that next week. 2 questions and a third from John here about this move. Have you some sort of formality about saying goodbye to Ericeira? Have you visited some of your old
that is so great, because I almost forgot. But this week I've been working quite not hard, but a lot of time being put into an episode that I considered kind of late. I'm trying to be like a few weeks ahead, so I don't have to cram every week to get something done by Friday. But this week, it was like, I could do my move to Espinho. It's like, but then the move kept getting later and later, so that wouldn't even be done till Wednesday, and then I'd have 2 days to put all that together for an episode on Friday. So that's too much. I'm retired. I don't need homework and have to cram for the test, right? But I said, well, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And this was sort of the middle of last week. And I said, this is perfect. I'm going to do a tribute and farewell to Ericeira.
Yeah.
And so I put that together this Friday. And I am really happy with what I put together. I think, to me, my experience was the best episode I put together. So I'm excited about it. I really appreciate you bringing it up without even knowing. But yes, there's definitely going to be a tribute and a goodbye that gives special treatment to Luisa and Sidonio.
Oh, that's nice.
For the 3 years that we've become friends and family.
And part of the show, because we feel like we know them as well now.
Yeah.
No, not many people knew a Sidonio until you appeared on the screen and brought them with you, right?
Yes. Yeah, so I feel really good about it. It's the first time I've put music to the entire thing. It's the first time I haven't spoken through the entire thing. So it's all visuals with music, a lot of video. There's a lot you'll particularly enjoy this year's Ericeira last September.
Oh, yeah.
Because I knew I was running my channel at the time, so I was filming it, saying, okay, I can use this for content at some point in the future. So I've got several minutes of just filming the festival.
Nice.
Sampling, eating, music going in the background. You can hear the talk and the babble. It's just quite fun, and it feels to me like you're actually there, walking around through it, kind of like that. So, and that takes a big chunk of the episode, which surprisingly I thought it was going to be well over 30 minutes, but I managed to get it to about 22 minutes, which is, I think most people who know nothing about it, they'll see 22 and they go, okay, well, that's probably not too long. But if it said 30, it's like, too long, never mind, I'll go watch something.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Look, it was Mr. Holland's opus, and I think it was Richard Reeves,
yes.
wasn't it, in 1995. Great film. Great movie right there. And John's other input here. James, I'm curious what your background will be in the new location. You must find a way to still hang that hat somewhere, not a cowboy hat, behind your left shoulder. Is that going to be possible, do we think?
I don't know. I'll have to work that out. Because, a lot of it has to do with what lighting is available. Because I don't have one of those little lighting hoops just put right on my laptop in front of me.
Yeah, that sounds much nicer than ring light, lighting hoop, I've got to say. Yes.
So yeah, that's yet to be determined. It occurred to me that on a given Monday morning, if I wanted to go for coffee, I found a location in Espinho that I really like.
Cool.
For two really great reasons. One is they're open at 8 in the morning, and I'm up early, and most places aren't serving coffee till at least 9 or 9:30, and sometimes 10. It's like, I don't want to wait. I just want to go get my coffee when I'm up and walking around first thing in the morning.
Yes.
So this place is open at 8, which is really helpful for me. But in addition to that, it's actually located, its foundation is on top of the sand of the beach, with a glass, ceiling to floor glass facing the ocean.
Wow.
So I can have my coffee at the ocean at 8 in the morning. It's like, wow,
lovely.
How much better does it get than that? So
almost with your bare feet in the sand. That is lovely. What a wonderful thing. Well, we would like to see a familiar recreation of the studio, because you're a fixture of the Good Morning Portugal Show. You're like our comfortable slippers that we've had for years.
Nice.
I hope you don't take that badly.
Well, as long as I keep my feet clean.
Yes,
or you keep your feet clean if I'm your slipper or whatever.
You are our old pair of slippers that we don't want to throw away. Right, the other question I have for you about this, and Pam's on a similar wavelength here, I think when you move within Portugal, the first place you lived stays with you as your Portuguese hometown. That's a lovely idea, isn't it?
Yes.
So you'll think of Ericeira forever as your hometown, perhaps.
Well, when I say Ericeira has my heart, and it always will. It's the place I chose to be. It's the place where I established family. It's, I've been here longer than I ever thought I would be in my first landing. So yes, that's absolutely true.
And what's your advice for those who might make a second, third, or more moves in Portugal as a foreigner? Anything that's been different with this move compared to your other 30, presumably in the United States?
Well, the current two moves, the first one to Portugal and Ericeira, and now this one, were substantially different because the reasons were different, and the feeling arriving, the sense of belonging, the culture that just embraces you is just so different than what I was experiencing when I left the United States. So that is one. If you're making that big move, it's like, really look at why you're moving, and don't be moving to get away from something you don't like.
Yes.
Move towards something that works better for you.
Yep.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Because if you're trying to run away from things that feel bad in your life, whether it's people or a country or a specific location, you're just going to bring it all with you. It's just going to follow you. So it's not going to work. You're going to become, once you get that infatuation phase that we've talked about, once you sort of move through that, then your real life is going to catch up. And if you were unhappy there and you haven't resolved that, you're going to be unhappy wherever you go.
That's a fugitive mindset compared to a sort of visionary mindset.
Or adventure or whatever, discovery. It's a very different motivation. Yes. So that move, my recommendation there is, do your best to figure out where you think you'd like to land, and plan to be there for at least a year.
Yeah.
For me, it was great. I discovered along the way, it was great to be in that place for 2 years, because then I had all my administrative stuff done. Yes. And I could move wherever I wanted to go. Now, I'd have to do it again, but I wouldn't have to be thinking about it and then changing it while I'm in the middle of trying to get it set up. Then I got to change it now because I moved it. I just never figured out why some people move every 3 months as soon as they get here when they're planning to stay. It's like, stop, you're just creating a lot of work for yourself.
That's true, isn't it? But I can understand why people do that, because it's such an exciting country to look around, and you are in a new place, like a dog with several tails or a child in a sweet shop. So do that, maybe have a base camp of at least a year, but people will be saying, James, hold on a minute, it can't possibly take 2 years to do all your bureaucracy. That's a lifetime. However.
Well, it took me 2 years to get my driver's license.
Yes, exactly. So as shocking and weird as that might sound, to get yourself settled administratively, bureaucratically, it can take a year or two. And that those years fly by, don't they, mate?
They do.
They really
do. And the other thing about 1 or 2 years is I don't think anyone should decide to leave until they've been here for 2 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So get settled in, commit to, it's not even really long term, but for more than 6 months to decide whether you love or hate a place. Just, it's kind of like, I'm going to decide whether I get married in the first 3 months of the relationship. It's like, no, you need the challenges, you need the joy, you need to experience the broader picture, all of those things before you make this, the commitment for the rest of my life. So I recommend that. Don't make any moves. Don't decide to leave, or you may be feeling it, but stick it out, see what happens. If it continues, and you're at the end of 2 years, maybe even 3 years, and you just feel like I'm not feeling it, I can't do it, then make your move. I think you'll be a lot happier with your move. You certainly won't have any regrets.
We did do the stages of moving and infatuation and likening it to a relationship. We didn't do the stalking, though, did we? We didn't do the somebody throwing themselves on Portugal and sort of grabbing Portugal by the ankles and never letting her go in a weird kind of way. But that happens too, doesn't it? That sort of extreme infatuation, you might say.
Yeah, well, I think there are people who want the adventure all the time. And I've said before, with no judgment, it's like, well, for you then, what's probably going to work best is to be on perpetual vacation and do move every 3 months. Go somewhere every 3 months. Just keep moving, keep having your vacation, which is great. It's a great feeling. But you're not going to be able to sustain that after 3 or 4 or 5 months in one place. Your vacation goes away. That infatuation begins to subside. When it comes to moving, once you've been here, I highly recommend having a good idea of the next place you want to be in Portugal, And it took me a year to make that decision. It was not something, ooh, wow, Espinho is great, I'm going to move there. It's like, oh, this is worth exploring. I'll need to come back and increasing periods of time, get a feel for it. What's it like? Yes, and the main pull for me is I wanted to be near the ocean. So I knew that. So looking along the ocean, I wanted transportation. It was the things I learned in the 2 years prior that created the checklist of what would really work for me in Portugal.
Very good.
And when I got to Espinho, I was looking at my checklist, go check, 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 check. Okay, this checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
But then there was this tremendous emotional pull for all the reasons we've talked about. Plus, Ericeira is beautiful. I see the beautiful photos taken in the Algarve, and I go, oh, those are beautiful. But man, Ericeira, that's my reaction to it. So I have this very strong emotional attachment to Ericeira. So it's like, do I do that or I do the check boxes? It all work for me that Ericeira does not have a lot of those checks. Okay. It's got beauty and emotional connection and all this stuff, but it's 2 hours to Lisboa, which is the nearest transportation hub. It's, just all these other...
You can get to Lisbon probably in the same time from Espinho, can't you? With a different sort of connection.
Yeah, it's a little longer. It's but it's only an hour longer. I'm three or four times farther away, and I can get there with only an hour addition traveling, because I can walk to a train in 5 minutes.
Very good. Right, we need to talk TIG, and we wish you well with your move. And this time next week, we'll be talking to you in your new place, I hope.
Live from Espinho.
Live from Espinho. Maybe the not cowboy hat will be hung up in a similar place with some familiar backdrop, but we shall see. But we do wish you the very best with your move.
Thanks so much. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, we can tell that. So have a good one. Bon viagem, and até próxima. I'll see you again.
Yeah, and please do catch this next episode. It's really special.
Which will be out on Friday. Yeah. Busy week, moving Wednesday, new video out on An Old Guy in Europe on Friday. Thanks, James. Have a great week, especially.
Always my pleasure.
Okay,
see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.